Hello again, everybody. Jeff Reinhart here, LMP and Lancaster Online. And welcome into the Week 11 first wave of the playoffs edition of the LL League Football Podcast. It's the Huddle, brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. It's windy, it's cold, the temperatures are dropping. I think we're setting the clocks back soon. I got a million leaves in my front yard, and that means playoff time in football. Wow, we made it. 10 weeks in the books. Section champs decided. A couple of three-way ties for section champions this year. A fun 10-week regular season. Good stuff in LL section play 2023. Now we switch our attention to the postseason. 20 LLE teams made playoffs, including 4 in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I'll touch on those in a couple of minutes. 16 LL League teams make District 3 playoffs, and they get started on Friday night. A bunch of teams got early round byes, and they'll play next week. Township, Central, Cocalico, et cetera, et cetera. Those guys are off this week. They'll be back in action next weekend, awaiting winners from some of these games. Early round games. So I'm going to break these down. There's only 9 games involving LL League teams this week. Not quite as a bulk of games to have to preview and talk about, but 9 teams are in play here in 10 teams. 10 teams are in play in 9 games. So nice and manageable this week. Okay, let's start with the District 3 games. I'll get you a nugget and a pick. I actually needed my notebook this week because I had to learn a whole bunch of new teams and kids and stats and stuff. So, okay, here we go. District 3 games. Everything's Friday night at 7 o'clock. Dress appropriately. 5A, first round, Exeter at Hershey. That game will be at Hershey Park Stadium, the Concrete Palace. Eagles get to play there. They take on Hershey. Exeter lost last year in the final to Cocalico. Won this bracket 2 years ago, beating next-door neighbor and rival Governor Mifflin. We'll see if Exeter can make it 3 trips in a row to the championship game. To advance, they're going to have to slow down this Angel Cabrera kid, 1,400-yard rusher for the Trojans with 20 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Exeter will need some rush D in this game. I have Exeter circled. I know they've lost 2 in a row. They lost to CV and Central in back-to-back weeks, but Exeter's been here, as mentioned, the last 2 years in a row to the championship game. Not all the kids played in both of those games, but they've been there. They've been around it. They've practiced, and the coaching staff has certainly been here. So I think Exeter goes to Hershey Park Stadium and beats the Trojans. Eagles over Hershey. The other 5A game, there's 3 5A games. The next 5A game on Friday, Lower Dauphin at Ephrata. Mounts, here they are, 9-1, shared the Section 3 title with Twin Valley and Garden Spot. First 9-win season, first section championship, and first District 3 playoff trip since 1987. Pretty amazing stuff here for the Mountaineers. What a great story. What a great ride. 36 years since they've been in the district playoffs. That's pretty amazing. That was back when only 4 teams used to get in, right to the semifinals. Ephrata made it in 3A, and they lost to Bishop McDevitt 21-12 on a really cold night in November back in 1987. Return trip for the Mounts. Good for those guys. Lower Dauphin, keep an eye on Carter Burton, dual threat QB, 800-yard passer, 800-yard rusher. LD's certainly been around here. They kind of know their way around a bracket. They've won before. I think they're a 6-win team, but they got to go to Ephrata. Mounts are playing great, and they do not want to be a one-and-out squad this time around. So I have Ephrata circled. I think they defend home turf. They live to fight another day and win and advance. Mounts over Falcons. The third 5A game, Dover out of York Adams at Conestoga Valley. How about the Bucks? Wow. Beat Exeter in week 9 to knock Exeter out of first place. Shut out Muhlenberg in week 10. Had a couple of pick sixes. Isaiah Sensenig and Jackson Byers had pick sixes. They win 42-0. Third shutout victory this season for the Bucks. They've had a really good, sneaky defense this fall. They have been tricky. Now they get a Dover team that loves to throw the ball. Oh my, Eric Campbell is the quarterback. 2,000-yard passer last year, 2,000-yard passer in 10 games this year. And Dover also knows its way around here. They beat Garden Spot last year in this game, in this first round 5A game. But I have CV circled. Love the D. Jaden Johnson's been a big play threat kid, slot kid, catches balls up top, run for over 900. Love the Bucks at home here and the way their D is going. They're going to have to pass defend. Their D-backs are going to be busy on Friday, but if they can keep Campbell under wraps a little bit, I think the Bucks can win. CV over Dover. Okay, a 4A game. Elko's back in the playoffs. They will host Big Spring, the Bulldogs out of the Mid-Penn. Elko, here they are, back again. 7 wins, maybe flying under the radar a bit in that really rugged Section 4, but they survived. Win 7, get a home playoff game. Good for them. Jake Williams, 1,982 rushing yards, LL rushing leader, 26 touchdowns. Wow. Needs 18 yards on Friday for a 2,000-yard season. That's really good. I don't know if I have a 2,000-yard list. I'm going to have to dig a little bit. Many guys have done it, not dozens and dozens, but it's been done several times over the years in LL. Maybe I'll check in on that stat this week. We'll see if Williams can get to 2,000 yards here this week. Spoiler alert, I think Jake Williams has 18 yards in him. Big Spring, boy, they boast a rushing attack. Connor Green, 1,075 yards rushing. Grant Hall, 1,025 yards rushing. 2 1,000-yard backs. That's pretty good. LL League had one of those this year. Twin Valley. Drew Engel had 1,200 plus, and Evan Johnson just a tick under 1,100 yards for Twin Valley. They're one of the bye teams this week. They'll go next Friday. But yeah, a lot of running in this game. Jake Williams, Connor Green, Grant Hall. Everybody better run stuff. I got the Raiders circled, like them at home. And they've really shoved a bunch of picks in my face this year. Yes, you have, Raiders. So I'm going to take home team here. I'm going to go Elko over Big Spring. Okay, AAA game, Littlestown Thunderbolts at Schuylkill Valley. Schuylkill Valley had a chance to win Section 5 outright last week. Bruce Harbach came back here, came back home, take on Lancaster Catholic, and the Crusaders won 35-14. Brandon Way had a big game running the ball. Elijah Cunningham had a couple of touchdowns. Catholic wins, forces that funky 3-way tie for Section 5 title. Schuylkill Valley, Anvil Cleona gets a piece. And Lancaster Catholic, so they share the title. Fun fact, Catholic was the only team that got a repeat this year in the section for section title. They shared it, but they got a piece of it. They get a trophy. Catholic's the only team in 5 sections that go back-to-back in the first 2 years of the Big Berks merger. Good times. Okay, Littlestown, Schuylkill Valley. Anxious to see how the Panthers kind of bounce back here. Littlestown's tricky. I actually saw them. I saw them play Anvil Cleona back in week 3 on that lightning night. And Littlestown won. They beat Anvil Cleona straight up. Schuylkill Valley beat Anvil 14-13 in a section game a couple of weeks back. I have the Panthers circled. They have to be fired up for this game. Come on. See if they can get back up right away and get things cooking on all cylinders again, coming away from Catholic last week. So I have them circled. I do like Littlestown's weapons. They got Colby Hahn can really run the ball. He had a big night against Anvil earlier in the season. Alex Popoff is a good mobile quarterback kid. So SV's going to have to play some D. They play some D, and Jaffray and Gerner and their playmaker kids come up big. I think the Panthers can win. I'll take them. Schuylkill Valley over Littlestown. Last District 3 game, 2A. This is a semifinal. They're down to the Final Four right away in 2A. Anvil Cleona against Camp Hill. This game, oh, by the way, will be played at Alumni Stadium in Lebanon, in the city. Great place. It's where Lebanon plays their home games. Awesome place. The Camp Hill people will love it. with the train tracks going through and the train coming through. And it's just a really cool atmosphere for a football game. So Camp Hill touches down there. They'll take on Anvil Cleona, a tri-champ in Section 5 with Schuylkill Valley and Lancaster Catholic. This is also a rematch from last year in the Final Four. Anvil Cleona beat Camp Hill pretty good. That was at Anvil Cleona's home stadium, which is going through some construction right now. That's why they're playing the game at Alumni Stadium in town. Camp Hill, boy, they will throw the ball. Drew Brattenstetter, oh my, 2,000-yard passer last year, 2,000-yard kid this year. He's got like a fun bunch of 3 receiver kids who can all go get it. Camp Hill is not shy about going up top. So Anvil Cleona is going to have to play some pass D. But I like how they've snapped back here. They lost to Schuylkill Valley, tough one. Come out last week, shut out Northern Lebanon, held the Vikings to, oh my, I think it was under 100 yards. So their defense played great. Kel Harder rushed for 100, had a pick 6. Like the Mo that Anvil has. And I picked them here again. I think they get back to the 2A final. They would get the winner of DeLone Catholic and Trinity. Trinity beat Anvil last year in the 2A final, but I think the Dutchmen can get back. They're going to have to pass defend. Keep an eye on the air on Friday in Lebanon. Dutchmen over Lions. Okay, 3 games, Eastern Conference. If you're not sure what that is, it's okay. It's called the Eastern Conference, and it's for the teams on the eastern side of the state, those districts, District 1, District 3, District 11, etc. You have to apply and be a member, and they keep a district ranking, power rating like they do in District 3, and whatever teams don't make their own district playoffs, whichever teams are left, the 2 highest ranked teams, if they're a member, they play in the Eastern Conference Championship. Not a lot of LL teams over the years have been in this. Lebanon was in it a couple of years ago, and they beat Reading, actually, in the big school Eastern Conference Championship game. There are a couple of LL teams that are members. Lebanon might still be. I think Pequay Valley was a couple of years ago. But I'd have to go back and look. There's a lot of Berks teams in it. Not a lot of Lancaster County teams. So anyway, 3 games in that, including a all LL matchup, and that would be in the 3A game, and that's Berks Catholic at Hamburg. Both get a playoff game. Berks Catholic was here last year in this game. They were in the 3A Eastern Conference Final, and they beat Pine Grove. So 2 years in a row, Berks Catholic playing for the championship in the EC. They get a Hamburg team with Tyler Shuey, 2,566 passing yards, 20-plus touchdowns passing. Berks Catholic's going to have to play some really good pass defense here and get some pressure on Shuey off the edge, no doubt. I have Berks Catholic circled. I usually have a gut hunch pick of the week, and this week it's Berks Catholic. I know they got to go on the road, but they were in this game last year. They have a playoff game under their belt. They have a trophy to defend in the EC, and I think they take care of business one way or another. Berks Catholic over Hamburg. Okay, the 4A game, Fleetwood is in. How about the Tigers? They have to go on the road to a really cool place, Shamokin. What a cool old town that is, and a really neat, good, cool stadium to go play in. Shamokin has a running back named Jace Gink, who's a good runner. So Fleetwood's going to have to play some run D. Fleetwood has Zion Brickle. What a season he's having. 1,400-plus rushing yards, 20 touchdowns, on the doorstep for 2,000 rushing yards in his career, and he's just been amazing. He's got 800 rushing yards in the last 5 games. So he's been tough to tackle. So sounds like a couple of good running teams here getting together in November in the cold and the wind to play some tackle football. Whoever tackles best wins. I have Fleetwood circled. Why not? Jack Riffle had a big game last week through the air. Mason Musitano had 3 touchdown catches last week. Fleetwood has some and they get a playoff game. So I'll ride the Tigers Mo. Fleetwood over Shamokin. Last game, 5A Eastern Conference Final. Pleasant Valley at Governor Mifflin. Mustangs get an extra week to play, and they get a home game. That's pretty cool. Pleasant Valley. There's a team we don't hear much about down here in Lancaster, Lebanon land. But Pleasant Valley's in. They got a running back named Alex Ecker, who's really good. And PV has a triple option attack. So they're going to stick it on the ground and run it. Mifflin's going to stick it on the ground and run it with their veer. I have Mifflin circled. Mifflin's done some stuff on the ground. They've been really good running the ball. They've been good up front. They have multiple kids who can run the ball, and they get a home game. And they went through a pretty good Section 2 grind this year. Central's tough. Exeter's tough. CV tough, and beat Mifflin. But I like the Mustangs here. I think they're battle tested. I like them up front, and they have a bunch of different kids who can touch and run the ball. So I will go Mustangs over Bears. Pleasant Valley. Okay, Week 11 winners. I'm going to go Exeter, Ephrata, CV, Elko, Schuylkill Valley, Anvil Cleona, Berks Catholic, Fleetwood, and Governor Mifflin. Week 11. Okay, Friday night, I'm going to go to Ephrata. I got to see the Mounts play their first playoff game since 1987. Come on. Just can't wait to see the reaction on those kids' faces being in a postseason game and the works. That's going to be fun. So I'll catch you Friday night at Ephrata LD. Again, as mentioned, a lot of teams had buys. Your top seeds, top 4 seeds, etc., will all be in action next week. We'll tee it up for you over the weekend. We'll see who wins and advances. Lancaster Online for all the coverage. We'll have all these playoff games covered on Friday. Stats, helmet stickers, notes, the works coming up over the weekend. Stay tuned for that. It's still football. I did get the girls' basketball stuff out this week. Gulp. But still very much in football mode as the playoffs get started on Friday. Enjoy. Okay, thanks again to Auto House of Lancaster. Appreciate the sponsorship. Come find me next week to talk Week 12 and all things playoffs. Thanks for tuning in.